Hello there, my name is Ismail, and this is part 5, I think, of our tutorial. We're going to make this outside chain, and if you look at it, we can use an array system to kind of make this. So we're going to first make the first one here, and see how we can use the array modifier to do the rest of it. So let's dive in. I'll start with this middle one here, and add a plane, scale it down just to get the shape we're going for here. I think after that you can select this, extrude it down, then you can select this face, scale it like that. We need this side to be rounded off, something like that. So we have an intersecting line here, we can remove that. I think we also need to round this off a bit, but before we do that, we need to add a loop that goes in the middle here. Make sure you connect them using J, like this, and we can get that. We can scale that down a bit, and we can now round off this like that. I can remove this extra edge loop. We can add. Let's try beveling this, but yeah, something like that. Maybe 2 rings. Push that around there. Then this, let's see, we can select this and insert it. Instead of inserting, let me just select this outside loop like that. Same on this side. And hit Ctrl B to bevel that. Let's give it 3 segments like that using your middle mouse wheel, and we can select this and this. Delete those faces. Turn on small shading, and now we can add a seam around there, and then unwrap. Also give it the same gold, brushed gold material. See, but the brushes, I think, are going in the wrong direction. I don't know. I don't have a high resolution image to confirm that. You can add these details, but yeah, you can use a bump map or model them directly. I'm not going to add them because they're going to add in. They're going to add. I already showed you how you can add them, and yeah, so I think we can add in this kind of contour here by adding in this loop here. Push that in and bevel this edge loop. You know what, I think I don't need to have that loop go all the way there because we are trying to minimize on the amount of edges we're using, vertices we're using. So I'm just selecting that and kind of going to merge this to that, this to that. Then I can remove that like that, and this loop also doesn't have to go all the way that side, so I can just find somewhere to connect it, and then remove this extra edge loop. So what you do up here, you have to do on this side as well. So let's merge that with that. Merge to last, and remove that edge loop and connect these to that. Then yeah, we have something like that. And unwrap again. So I already have this ring, so I'll just select that, Ctrl L, and then Shift D, and then P to separate that, and I will connect this to this. So this should be a little bit smaller, so I'll just select everything, use Alt S to kind of shrink the radius of the ring, or yeah, I don't know what that is, the radius or something, I don't know. So let's have it connected there, and let's see, we can select this, Shift D, rotate this 90 degrees, connect this on this side, I think this has to be a little bit smaller and maybe squished in a bit. I don't know. I can't really tell. But maybe also increase its size just a little bit. Maybe that's too much. Something like that. And also make sure that because we're going to be using the array, that you have these vertices are straight here. So let me turn on this, rotate this in the y direction until we have this aligned like that. And now we can delete these vertices on this side, and I think we should do the same for this side. I don't know. Now it's not necessary. You can shift D this, mirror this on the X, like that. And now we can use the array modifier, or make sure you join this to this, Ctrl J, and we can use the array modifier for now to do this. The problem is that if we try to reduce the distance here so that we can merge this will be intersecting. So that means that this side is a bit too big. So let me remove this loop, maybe push these vertices up, and these as well, and this here we can reduce that size just a bit. So now let's try. I think this should be a value of 1, and I should have that connected. Make sure you have merge enabled so that we have these vertices are merged as well. If you're experiencing this problem, just select everything, Shift A to recalculate your normals. That should fix that, and now we can use the array as much as we want, like that. Let's see. Okay, so let's see what else can we do. I think these are too long, so I'm going to make them a little bit shorter, scale them, and push them, something like that. So they have to go the length of this. I think it follows the same pattern here. So let's see. So if we select this, I'm just going to get the other reference image, this image. I think it's this here. No, this, yeah. Okay. Is this? Yes. Let me scale it. I'll go into the image settings here and switch on alpha and reduce its alpha value because I want it to align it with the background image we have already. So I think that's close. So I can bring back the alpha, maybe turn it off all the way, and I just need this to be around here. I'll select this, move it aside as a backup, then Shift Alt D to duplicate that as an instance, and I can draw a curve. So Shift A, add a curve, basic curve. I think this 90 degrees. Let's see. You move it above, slightly above our reference image, so that I can see it. Select this, push it down, rotate it, scale it up, select this, so we get that curve. Shift D, sorry, not Shift D, E to extrude that, rotate it to get that curve. I think I can scale this down, scale this up just a bit. Yeah, I think that's what we have. and now select this, select the curve, Shift S, cursor to selected, and then select this object, Shift S, selection to cursor, so that it's moved to the position of this curve. And now what we need to do is in the array settings, we need to select this as we need to change fixed to fit curve and select this as the curve, and select the curve, apply scale and rotation, and apply scale and rotation for this as well. We have a multiple object here, but that's okay. So let's see. It should be the length of this curve. So what I'm going to do is first apply the user data of this by making it a single object with its own object data. Let me apply scale and rotation. Yeah, so if you do that, if you apply the scale and rotation of this, I should give you the length of this curve. The array count will be the length of this curve. Then we need to add a curve modifier. Select this curve, and you can see that should follow that curve. As long as the rotation, let's go to the values here. The rotation of, if the rotation of this object is 0, 0, of the curve, and the rotation of this object is 0, 0, it's going to be easy for you to choose the deformation axis here. So make sure you have that set, and the position of this object is the same position of the curve. You can see from the values here, they all have the same position. That should make it easier for you to align those objects and have it follow that. So, but we need this to be on this axis here to follow this position. So I'll just grab this in the Y direction. I think, let's see. Now, what's going to be difficult is kind of orienting these objects to follow the same direction as this. So if we try rotating this in this direction, we get the same thing, but then on this side you can see what we are experiencing. Yeah, so let's undo that for a second. For now I'm just going to leave everything as is, like this. You can see, I think my computer is actually starting to slow down because of the number of polygons that we have here. So let me see if I can reduce that even more. I think it's okay, so let's just leave it at that for now. So we can do the same for these other ones. So just select this loop, this curve, Shift D, scale it down. You know what I'm going to do is just to make sure that when I'm scaling it, it's scaling in the middle of this. I'm just going to select this curve, select this and this point, Shift S, cursor to selected, so that the cursor is in the middle here. Right click, origin to 3D cursor. That is going to change the position of my object here. So to fix that, I'll just select this object, Shift S, selection to 3D cursor. That should fix the positioning. And now I can select this curve again. And let me first move this back to its position. Grab this in the Y direction so that I can move it up there. And then select this, Shift D, scale. Now you can see it's scaling from this point because that's the point of the center, the origin. So I can select this. I need them to be starting from up there. Again, I need to duplicate this, Alt D, to have an instance, and I need the position of this. So I'll select this. Select this, Shift S, selection to 3D cursor. Let's see. Also, you can see this ring here doesn't go all the way. It breaks off here and then starts again here. So what I'm going to do is select this curve, this point and this, subdivide so that I have a curve around there. Then I can select these edges and delete those edges. I just need to have this up to. Problem I have is that this is a very low resolution image, so I can't tell some of the details that are there. So let's see what we can do. You want this to, the array for this to have this curve here as this array object, as this curve object. So I'll select this curve. You can see it has the same length, and then the curve to follow, again I want it to be that curve, and can push it on the y direction somewhere like there. And now we want this to be mirrored on this axis. So what let me try mirroring this. I think that's not bad. Yeah, I think that works. That works. So we need to do this again for another curve, for another ring that goes here. So the other thing, I want this to be going on top of each other. So I'll rotate this in the, let's see what, in the y direction, in the x direction, and this in the x direction as well. Something like that. Now I can select this curve, duplicate it again. Just so I don't move the pivot point, I'll just go do this. I just select this and then go to edit mode and move that like so. Then select this, Alt D to duplicate an instance, and now I just need to change the different curves used. And same for this. Yeah, so something like that. I think this curve is a bit longer, so I can select it. Let me first remove this vertex, subdivide, and push that on there like that. You can see what we are having now. See what we are having. So we'll continue this in the next tutorial and see how that goes. Thank you.